Welcome back to the channel. So today we're back with a full day of eating to build muscle. Now, different style of videos. We're going to be doing more vlogs. I think it's easier to be yourself. You can sit here talking to yourself like a weirdo, tripod set up in the front room, which I'm doing now. So here we are with a new style, but full day of eating to build muscle. Now, I've gone from 90 kilos to 98 kilos in 4 weeks, which is very fast. I wouldn't promote anyone to gain that quickly because typically you will get a lot of body fat in there. But I'm not concerned. I think we skipped out the reverse phase. So calories went from being very low to very high, which caused me to retain a lot more glycogen, store a lot more water. So I think 3 kilos, 4 kilos of that is gonna be fluid. The other 4 kilos is gonna be rather body fat and muscle, but I'm not concerned. Training performance is absolutely through the roof. The best I've ever trained. Training progressions on a week-to-week basis. Body composition still holding relatively tight, a little bit more fluid around the midsection. Same again around the lower back and around the hips, but nothing sort of overly concerning to me. But for you guys watching the video, you probably want to try and gain between 0.5% to 0.7% of your scale weight per week. Now, if someone's coming in at 80 kilos, you probably want to gain 0.4, 0.5 kilos per week. That's going to build a lot of good quality muscle, but also keep body fat gains to a minimum. Now, what I think a lot of people do is they just get fat. They don't build enough muscle, they just get fat. So what you need to understand on a week-to-week basis is, yes, you're cementing that scale weight gain. It is important to understand that you're growing, but what does that look like from a body composition standpoint? And what does it look like from a training standpoint? Are you logging your lifts? Are you understanding the trends in training performance? So you cement that scale weight gain, body composition holds still relatively tight, training performance is going through the roof, you're building good quality muscle, you're keeping body fat gains to a minimum. Now, I always like to point out as well in my videos, just because you see me eating the amount of food that I'm eating doesn't mean it's gonna work for you. I'm 98 kilos, I've got a lot of muscle, been training for over 10 years. Someone who's been training a year, they're 70 kilos, is obviously gonna be on a lot less food than that. So later on in the video, I'll give you the formula to structure your own nutrition plan, and you can copy the types of foods that I'm eating. Now, if you watched the dieting phase video, the foods were very boring because very high in protein, very satiating foods to suppress the appetite. In a gaining phase, the goal is to eat. To eat, you need an appetite. So we actually need to be optimizing foods a little bit lower in satiation. As you can see here, I've got a tray full of muffins, very easy way of getting the calories in. So meal one, we've got 3 blueberry muffins, just under 200 calories per muffin. We've then got a whey protein smoothie. So we've got 45 grams of whey, 80 grams of banana, 40 grams of oats, 100 grams of frozen strawberries mixed with water. We also then had a flat white. So I think calories are roughly just over 1,000 calories, 55 grams of protein, 31 grams of fats, and around, I think, 125 grams of carbs. Currently 8 AM in Dubai, so it's actually a Sunday today, so I'm not working. I'm still gonna be training at around 1 PM. So heavy meal, wouldn't recommend having something as large as that if you're gonna be training within an hour, potentially even an hour and a half. It's not gonna digest, it's gonna be heavy on the stomach, it's probably gonna impact performance levels, but I'm gonna have a big meal now, then I'm gonna have another big meal in 2 hours at 10. That still gives me 3 hours from that point for that to digest, utilize the glycogen for my performance levels. So meals 1 and 2, big focus on carbs, glycogen, that's your main source of energy for performance levels. We've also got, with the muffins, quite a lot of fat in there as well. So I'm gonna munch this and then we'll catch you guys back for meal 2. So meal 2, pre-workout meal, slightly different than usual. Normally I'd eat at 10, train at 1. It's a 3-hour window for it to firstly settle down in your stomach and also digest and optimize the nutrients for performance levels. Today, I'm actually gonna train at 12. It's now 11:15, so I've only got about an hour for it to digest. Usual 100 grams of oats, realistically, aren't gonna digest in time. So instead we've opted for 80 grams of Kellogg's Crunchy Nut Cornflakes, 200 ml of almond milk, 45 grams of whey isolate, 80 grams of banana, and 100 grams of frozen strawberries. Macros are 610 calories, 47 grams of protein, 8 grams of fats, and 87 grams of carbs. In terms of the carb sources, we've got carb sources that are high in glycemic index now. So firstly, going to digest quickly. Secondly, it's not going to feel too heavy on the stomach. It's quite calorie dense. The reason I'm actually having two protein smoothies as well is it's a very easy way of getting your calories in, especially if you start putting like peanut butter in there, calorie dense foods, very easy way of getting calories in there. If you have 5 meals a day, every meal's chicken and rice, you're going to get sick of the sight of it. It's going to be very, very satiating. Appetite's not going to be in a good position. You're not going to be in a position to continue loading food for the duration of the gaining phase. Another key thing, you need to enjoy the foods. If you're having very boring foods, you're probably not going to look forward to it. You're not going to stay consistent. If you have a diet of foods that you enjoy, so you've seen I've had muffins, I've got cereal, I've had protein smoothies in there, you look forward to eating it. And that just means that you can push food to a very high level to continue adapting and to continue growing. Pre-workout meal, an hour before legs. I'm gonna get this down us, head over to the gym, and then send it for a big leg session. Should be a deload, but I've had 3 days rest. When I spend too long at the gym, head gets a little bit irritated, so now I feel like mentally I'm ready to go and send it. So we'll get some raw footage of a big leg session. So post-workout meal number 3, post legs, just a little light session. And to be honest, I feel like I've just been ran over by a truck. Probably should have listened to my body. So supposed to be doing a 7-day deload, because waking up every morning, aching, mental fatigue's high, feeling tired, just from probably going into a state of overtraining. Last, say 7 weeks, I haven't had a deload probably since I landed in Dubai, and I've been here about 11 weeks now, I think, so well overdue for a deload. But last 7 weeks in particular, big training block, intense training, a lot of volume, high intensity, starting to catch up with me. So tried rushing back into it today. Only really did a deload session, as you've just seen, so lower volume, lower intensity, but still body's just not responded well to that. So probably going to take a few days now, complete rest. But in terms of this meal, we've got 200 grams of cooked chicken, 300 grams of cooked white rice, and 15 grams of barbecue sauce and 100 grams of carrots. Macros for that is 830 calories, 73 grams of protein, 112 grams of carbs, 10 grams of fats. Most important areas in your post-workout meal is going to be high protein, high carbs. The protein for muscle protein synthesis, repairing and recovering. Carbs for glycogen, just to replenish glycogen post-workout. That's going to aid with your recovery time as well. Most important meals of the day are going to be your pre-workout meal. That's what's going to fuel performance. Post-workout meal, that's going to aid with recovery. Now, standard chicken and rice meal, as I said earlier on, a staple in the diet is good quality carb sources, good quality protein sources. There's going to be 2 big meals in there. The chicken and rice meal, and what you're going to see after is a steak and rice meal as well. Nutrient dense foods, good quality protein, good quality carb sources as well. And then the other foods are going to be bulked up on foods that are going to help me hit my energy balance, lowering satiation, more nutrient dense foods, to put me in a position to continue pushing my energy drive to be in a state of being able to continue and adapt and to continue growing. But meal 3 is about to go down, and we'll catch you shortly. The back, meal 4. Now, at this point, I don't want to eat. I'm sick of the sight of food, and it's all part of the gaining phase. When you get to that level where you're pushing a significant amount of food, so in my case, 4,600 calories, towards the end of the day, it is going to be a bit of a chore. On a dieting phase, when you're looking to get shredded, you need to have discipline to stay on plan, not eat over plan. Likewise, on a gaining phase, at the times where you don't want to eat, you need the discipline to get the food down you, otherwise you're not going to continue to adapt and grow. So meal 4, we've got 100 grams cooked weight of fillet steak and 300 grams of cooked white rice. Macros for the meal is 800 calories. We've got 38 grams of protein, 105 grams of carbs, and 25 grams of fats. Still got quite a few calories to go after this meal. I think we still got this meal plus another 1,500 calories, so it's getting heavy. This is the last staple meal with a good quality carb source, a good quality protein source. We still got oats to go, to be fair. We still got Greek yogurt to go. So we still got two more meals of good quality protein, good quality carbs. Then an evening snack will be a calorie dense food, because there's no way I'm eating any more than this without just eating something to get the calories. So we're gonna get stuck into this meal 4 reluctantly. Then before the next meal, I'm gonna show you guys how you can build your own nutrition plan to build muscle, but we'll catch you again at meal 5. So before meal 5, we're gonna show you how you can build your own nutrition plan. Now, everyone's body's different, so as I said earlier, don't just copy what I'm doing, because you probably will just get fat depending on the level that you're at. Now, you need to collect data and understand your body. So you need to work out what your maintenance calories is. You can go online, use a rough BMR calculator. It's not going to be specific for your body. Everyone's bodily functions are different. Could give you a rough guide though. So collect data, put your calories around that, analyze what your scale weight does over 1 to 2 weeks. If scale weight's holding, you've then found out your maintenance calories. Now, the goal is to gain between 0.5 and 0.7% of your scale weight. 0.7 is going relatively quick. There will be an accumulation of some excess body fat in there. But that will be a good ballpark to aim for building enough good quality muscle, but also keeping body fat gains to a minimum. So to achieve that rate of gain, you want to be in roughly a 500 to 600 calorie surplus. So work out your maintenance, then add 500 to 600 calories, and that's going to give you your energy balance. You're not just going to stay at that. Your body will adapt. You will have to progress it over time and manipulate that on a week-to-week basis, but that will give you your ballpark to start for. That gives you your energy balance. You then need to work out the macros. So in a gaining phase, you actually need slightly less protein than in a dieting phase. When your body's in a catabolic state, so in a calorie deficit, your rate of muscle protein synthesis is reduced, so there's an increased requirement to have more protein. That's not the case in an anabolic state. So to start with, you want to get 2.2 grams per kilo of scale weight. The more you escalate food, the more trace proteins are going to get in there, and naturally that will increase over time. But to start, 2.2 grams of protein per kilo of scale weight. You then want to keep fats in at a baseline level. So to start, 40 to 60 grams of fats per day. Again, the deeper you get, the more trace fats are going to be coming in there. When appetite is not in a good position, you probably will have to progress fats as well. But to start, 40 to 60 grams. The remainder of your energy balance is going to come from carbs. That's what's going to fuel performance levels, the glycogen. So the goal is to get as many of the remaining calories from carbs and keep it like that. The longer you can keep fats and proteins at that baseline level and progress carbs, the more optimal that gaining phase is going to be, because it's going to push performance levels to an optimal level. That gives you your macros and your energy balance. Then obviously, and very importantly, is the food selection. So feel free to replicate what I've done then. 4 to 5 meals a day. As a staple, you want good quality protein sources. So you've seen what I've had. 2 meals, we've had whey protein, we've had steak, we've had chicken, we've now got fat-free Greek yogurt. So put that in as a staple. Then you want to optimize healthy fats as well and healthier carb sources. But the deeper you go, the worse your appetite is going to be. So as a starting point, keep it clean. So potato, rice, salmon, eggs, avocado for the healthy fats. Obviously rice, white potato, oats for the healthy carbs. The deeper you go, the harder it's going to be to progress food. So you can throw things in. What you're going to see now in the next meal is we've got honey in there. Very efficient way of getting calories in without suppressing an appetite. Things like jam, as you saw in meal 1, we've got the muffins, and you need to keep it interesting as well, and those foods are going to keep your appetite in the best possible position. So you then got good quality protein sources, good quality carb sources. Don't forget your micronutrients. So we need some veg in there, we need some fruits in there as well. And we've also got your healthy fats in there as well. And then that's how you essentially will build your own plan. As I said, that's your starting position. You will progress that over time. And the deeper you get into it, you probably will start throwing foods like cereals at it and things just to keep your energy drive progressing, so you can keep pushing performance levels, you can keep adapting, and you can keep growing. But now on the way with meal 5. So what we've now got is 300 grams of fat-free Sky Eye yogurt. We've then we're going to mix in that some honey and some jam. So we've got 30 grams of honey, which we're going to mix in the yogurt. We're also going to be mixing 20 grams of jam in there. We've then got a meal of 100 grams of oats with 325 ml of almond milk. We've got 100 grams of blueberries, and we've also got 40 grams of jam and another 30 grams of honey going into the oats. Total calories for that meal, it's a heavy one. We've got 937, 42 grams of protein, 171 grams of carbs, and 9 grams of fats. On the way with this meal, not looking forward to it. It's going to be a bit of a struggle, but it is all part of it. When you get to this stage as well, when you push food, you can probably hear it, is the breathing. The heavy breathing fitness starts to deteriorate. So another thing, strongly recommend you implement within your gaining phase is cardio in there for cardiovascular purposes. So as a baseline, I'll just keep 20, potentially up to 30 minutes of cardio, preferably an incline walk, not running, just to minimize that fatigue element, times 5 days per week, just to get some elevated heart rate in there, as I said, for cardiovascular purposes, keeping fitness in a good level. If fitness deteriorates, it will start impacting performance. So you'll be halfway through a set, you'll be blowing. It won't be the fatigue from the set that stops the set, it will be you being out of breath, and then you're gonna be leaving progress on the table. So another key variable to manage is your fitness, your appetite, and also with the food selection, your digestion. The more you load food, the more digestive stress you're going to be adding. You need to implement foods that are going to be easy to digest for you, not going to cause you any digestive stress. And again, that's going to put you in the best position to spend a long period of time in a gaining phase. But we're going to struggle and we're going to get through meal 5 and then we'll catch you for the last meal of the day. It's the 5th and final meal of the day. At this point, it's just a write-off. Feel a bit sick. Breathing's heavy. Face is puffy. Trying to grow out the best beard I can. Still not at a level where I can grow a full-on beard. It's just a little bit of bum fluff at this point, but we'll cover up the chins. It's all part of the process. If you want to get into elite condition, you want to build a significant amount of muscle, you need to get comfortable with these things. Get comfortable being uncomfortable, spending time in that phase, embracing it, thrive off it, and you'll cover out the other end of it looking like an absolute animal. The last meal of the day, realistically, I'm not eating any more rice, I'm not eating anything like that. To keep the calories coming in, we've got some cinnamon crunch like cereal, 100 grams with 200 ml of almond milk. Macros for this meal is there's not going to be any protein in it. We've got 400 calories, we've got 7 grams of trace proteins in there, another 84 grams of carbs and 4 grams of fats. So I'm going to wake up tomorrow full of glycogen again, ready to usually send it for a big session. I am going to deload. That leg session today was not the one. Still feeling a little bit wiped out from it now. So deload's well needed, but when we get back into the next training block, we're going to be pushing some serious numbers and excited to get in. I think in a gaining phase, that's what you need to thrive off. Obviously in the dieting phase, you're going to be attaching that value to the midsection, coming in tight, getting shredded. In a gaining phase, thrive off the numbers, log your workouts, smash training performance, progress those numbers and enjoy the process. But that's a wrap. We're going to get through this last meal. I'm not sure how, but I'm going to get through it. And that's a wrap for today's video. But we're coming back next Sunday with a tutorial on how you build a big back. So we're going to be giving a full back session of pull variation 1. And again, showing you guys how you can build a big back. But we'll catch you guys